It doesn't begin with chaos. It starts quietly, almost invisibly. You're just a child, maybe 7, maybe younger, staring into the tired eyes of a parent who's falling apart. Maybe they're drowning in addiction, maybe in rage, maybe just in the emptiness of someone too hurt to care anymore. And somewhere deep inside, a small voice whispers, "If I don't hold things together, everything will fall apart." That's how it begins, the slow fading of a child. Not in body, but in spirit. They smile more, cry less, learn to sense the tension in the room before speaking. They become the calm in a storm they never created. They grow up too soon, and the world applauds them. "You're so mature. You're so reliable. You're so strong." But no one ever asks, "What did it cost you?" This is the invisible grief of those who became adults long before they were ready. And even years later, the echoes of that childhood remain. They shape how you love, how you trust, how you see your worth. Because if you never understood what happened, you spend your life replaying the same survival patterns that once saved you, but now quietly destroy you. Psychologists have a name for this: parentification. When a child becomes the caretaker, the peacemaker, the emotional anchor, the roles reverse. The parent leans on the child, and something inside the child's brain rewires. Constant emotional alertness turns into hypervigilance. That feeling of always scanning for danger, never fully relaxing. Love becomes a negotiation. If I stay calm, maybe they'll stay safe. You learn that your needs cause trouble, so you hide them. You vanish emotionally, replaced by a version of yourself that pleases, helps, and performs. The good kid, the quiet achiever, the one everyone leans on. You wear the mask so well that you forget it's a mask at all. But somewhere deep inside, the real you is still crying out, "Why didn't anyone protect me?" As you grow, those wounds evolve. You may become fiercely independent, terrified to rely on anyone. You might feel uneasy in love or strangely numb when good things happen, because joy feels unsafe, undeserved. You may chase constant productivity, believing that being useful is the only way to be loved, and you might not even realize that you're still living in survival mode, because dysfunction became your normal. When calmness feels suspicious and love feels like a debt, you know that child is still inside you. That's not weakness. It's trauma. A kind that reshapes the nervous system and your understanding of intimacy, safety, and self-worth. And you may ask, why would any child take on that role? Because every child will sacrifice authenticity for attachment. They will trade their truth for belonging. It's not a choice. It's instinct. The tragedy is that the pattern which once kept you alive now keeps you trapped. So here we are, grown adults with invisible children still running the show. We fix everyone else's pain, but ignore our own. We overachieve to earn love, stay quiet to avoid rejection, and secretly wish someone would finally notice that we're tired, that we're pretending to be strong. That fantasy of someone holding you while you fall apart isn't childish. It's the voice of the child who never got to rest. Healing begins not with fixing, but with seeing. Because until you acknowledge what happened, you'll keep telling yourself, "It wasn't that bad," or "I turned out fine." But fine is just another mask. So what happens to those children when they grow up? They become adults who never feel safe, even in peaceful rooms. Lovers who flinch at tenderness. Givers who don't know how to receive. People who apologize for crying, who mistake exhaustion for success. This is the real cost of growing up too fast. When you learn to be strong instead of honest, silent instead of authentic, a caretaker instead of a child, you inherit an adulthood full of tension and quiet loneliness. Always waiting for someone to say, "You can stop now. You're safe." But here's the truth. No one's coming to rescue that buried child. That's your task now. You are the one who must turn inward, take that small hand, and whisper what no one else did. You didn't deserve that. You were just a kid. You get to rest now. This is where real healing begins, not through pretending or bypassing the pain, but by facing it, sitting with the grief, the anger, the emptiness, mourning the birthdays where no one came, grieving the innocence lost while you were busy keeping others alive. That grief isn't weakness. It's thawing. It's life returning. And slowly, the same child who disappeared begins to come back. Maybe you start setting boundaries. Maybe you cry without apologizing. Maybe you rest without guilt. These small acts are rebellion and reclamation, because these patterns aren't who you are. They're who you became to survive. And the good news? Anything learned can be unlearned. So ask yourself, what did I need back then that I never got? Maybe you needed safety. Maybe you needed laughter. Maybe you just needed someone to notice. And now, you can give those things to yourself, not to fix the past, but to stop reliving it. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And that's true. Healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before you had to be strong. If you grew up too fast, know this. Your maturity was never the problem. The problem was that you had no choice. But now, you do. You can choose softness. You can choose to rest. You can stop carrying everyone else's pain and start holding your own heart. And no, it won't happen overnight. Some days you'll feel like that child again. That's okay. That's healing. Let them return. Let them cry, laugh, and breathe. Because you're not broken. You're becoming whole. You didn't get to have a childhood, but you still have a future. And this time, you get to write it yourself.